back to the show. This is The Law Show on CL 650.
This land is your land. This land is my land. From Monte Vista to the Vancouver Island. From the Arctic Circle.
We could just listen to that all day. That's the perfect song for The Law Show. This land was made for you and me. All right, we're talking about getting into Canada, immigration law with Gordon Maynard and Rudy Kisher from MKS Law in downtown Vancouver. Now, over to you, Rudy. You have to sort of tell me how you got these points that are possibly going to change our immigration rules and laws.
There was a Liberal town hall meeting in the Don Valley riding, which is in Toronto, close to where I grew up, actually. The MP, Yasmin Ratsani, had asked the Minister, John McCallum, the Minister of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, come speak. Unfortunately, Mr. McCallum couldn't attend, and his Chief of Staff, Bernie Darrable, came to speak. He was actually the architect behind the resettlement of the refugees, the 25,000 refugees that arrived in Canada, and he spoke and raised a bunch of coming changes. Somebody attended at that meeting. We're not sure exactly who, but that was circulated on some of what was said. A copy of what was said was basically circulated around. So we're not sure how accurate it is, but it was circulated by a bunch of immigration lawyers, and we're talking about those 17 points today. All
right. So the next one is Immigration, Refugee, and Citizenship Canada. Did I get it right?
Yes.
All right. That's the ministry. The website will be opened up to more languages. That's probably a good thing. No? Look, see, what I think is, here's what I've come to find with you guys. Whatever I think is a good thing, you don't, and then what you think is a good thing, I don't agree.
The immigration website is, in some respects, maybe too many respects, incomprehensible already. Putting it into 19 languages is not going to improve that.
Okay.
What they need to do is revamp their structure of the website.
Okay.
It's an interesting thing. In the world of the internet, they used to have their policy in paper manuals. Okay, paper manuals. And at the bottom of each page would be a date on when it changed. And it was put out in binders, and you could collect it. There it was. Now they put it onto the internet. And the problem with the whole system, it's terrible, and the whole website, let alone their manuals, is that there's links all over the place.
Right. You just keep adding more stuff.
You can just keep moving down the path. It's like taking that trail in the woods, and you never know where it's going to lead to. Nowhere do you have everything collected cohesively into one area.
So let me guess, you don't have a problem with maybe it being in other languages. You just want the website to be better.
Yeah, it needs to be better.
Well, I just don't know how accurate it's going to be, how they're going to keep it up. Then you end up into translation issues.
Well, if it's going as well as paying federal employees, have you heard that story about the federal employees and that getting?
Oh yeah, not getting paid.
Yeah, so obviously the IT department in Parliament Hill is maybe letting a little bit of work.
There's things they can do on the website for sure, but translating it to 90 plus languages seems to be putting energies in the wrong place.
So get the website fixed, and then work on the other languages.
Yeah, and we're looking for immigrants really that speak the language, right? That's kind of the avenue that we're going, right?
Yeah.
So
well, I think maybe all the idiosyncrasies and all the fine details, maybe in another language would help, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we've covered that one. All right, what's the next one?
Go ahead, Rude.
They're talking about, I guess we want to talk about the 300,000. It's not.
No, for number 14.
All processes.
Yeah, they're saying they're going to examine all the processes as why, and being asked over and over again, backlogs are to be attacked. I think that's a great idea. I mean, the Immigration Department is the Auditor General did a review of the Immigration Department, said it is the only department in the government left that doesn't have service standards, right? So basically, I'll give you, and this also, I can give you an example of a Service Canada. I called Service Canada, so I've got an application. The processing time is supposed to be done in, the average processing time is 8 weeks. I call and I say, well, it's now been 16 weeks and my client's application is not being processed. Why? They say, we don't know. The average processing is 8, but it can vary from 8 to 25 weeks. And we're not going to, what they call, elevate it to a supervisor to look into it until you reach 25 weeks. So this is somebody where the employer is saying, I can't find someone to do the job. and I'm not going to get an answer. No one's going to give me an answer to my
For half a
application
year.
for half a year. How is that business supposed to run? Or plan to keep a job open for that long? And they won't even tell me a reason. So you're telling me that someone's application is getting processed in 8 weeks, and my application is sitting on a different desk, and it's going to take 25 weeks for no good reason except it's sitting on a different desk.
So this point says backlogs are going to be attacked. I guess that's more manpower.
Yeah,
placed at the-
I think it's a good thing.
Hopefully.
I mean, if we want the best and the brightest, and I think the Conservatives tried to address this in sort of this express entry system, the best and brightest, they're trying to get their lives done. They're trying to move places and do things. They're not going to sit or wait around, right? If you're telling me if somebody's wanting to immigrate, you're saying it's going to take 2 or 3 years, they're like, well, I'm going to go someplace else. I can't put my life on hold. And so I think if they want to keep doing that, they've got to address that.
I would like to comment further on this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
It says all processes are being examined, and the question why is being asked over and over. First of all, asking why is great. You should ask it every day, everywhere you look. Why? Sometimes when we deal with the government, we ask them why, and we don't get back a straight answer. You must always ask why. There must always be a reason why things are done this way. It is just processes. I hope it's also policy, but re-examining everything and saying why, good for them. Good. I approve.
I have a quick question before we move on here. How much contact do you get with senior people in the ministry or the minister? Do you ever get to speak to these people and tell them what you think about the way the system works? Do you have forums for that?
We don't. We have forums. Yeah, we have annual meetings. Canadian Bar Association, puts on an annual COE.
And they come?
And they come. And
They do come.
And they're very open to hearing our comments, right? And we have there's an annual practices committee in regards to the Immigration Refugee Board that meets twice a year in Ottawa, and so that they listen to our concerns.
Well, not to mention the National CBA section, which is about how many people now? 25 people from across Canada, all practicing lawyers. That section has a continuing dialogue with the government.
Well, that's good, because that's where you can ask those questions. Why?
Yep.
So in the last couple of minutes here, any other points you want to touch on?
I think the 300,000. I mean, we've seen Minister McCallum, when I saw him speak when he came to Vancouver, was very surprised that when he went to the immigration department and said, we want to process 25,000 refugees, they came back and said, well, the problem is we can only process 300,000 people a year. We're not really set up. And so he said, his thought is that should be expanded. It was clear to me, he was sort of dropping a hint that they look like they're going to raise the number. And here, that's what we see, point 16, is 300,000 is not the max for the permanent residence program. So I think we're going to see, remind listeners that a year ago it was 280,000 people. This year's 305,000 people. That's the number of people that are going to become permanent residents in Canada. That's the target. This minister's talking about increasing that number. Right?
And Gordon, do you want to touch on the last one in our last minute here?
Settlement programs are going to be expanded. I presume you're talking about the support programs for persons who are coming to Canada to settle as immigrants.
Language, I'm thinking, is a big one.
Well, yeah, but in the economic program, those people are supposed to be ready to settle, hit the ground with their feet running.
Right.
They don't need settlement programs
Okay.
because they have a job and whatnot. I think this is aimed more at the humanitarian and compassionate angle and the resettled refugees, and they're the ones that do need help to resettle. So, yeah.
All right. So of these points that we've talked about today, are you hopeful most of them will be addressed and passed?
Am I hopeful?
Or do you hope that?
I think these are good issues that are being raised. Do I expect that all of them will be addressed satisfactorily? No. Time will tell. I mean, you can only do so much. You have to pick your targets and work accordingly. But this government is ambitious.
I think it's great to see that Minister McCallum has now turned his attention away from the refugee issue, right, which had to be addressed, and he addressed it quickly, and now he's got time to look at this stuff, and I think that's what's happening, and he looks like he wants to make changes.
That's good to hear. Yeah. All right. Gordon Maynard and Rudy Kisher from MKS Law in downtown Vancouver, immigration lawyers and partners at that firm at Granville and Hastings in downtown Vancouver. Thank you both for coming in. Great to have you. It's a fascinating part of the law that always seems to be changing each month. We'll continue with these gentlemen at a later date. I'm Zach Spencer. Thanks for listening to The Law Show on CL 650.